reacted to this significant volume cluster. So this was nice reaction to it, to the trend setup basically. The trend setup is one of the setups which I'll be showing you later, even though the whole day didn't end up as a trend day. But more on that later when I'll be talking about the setups. Alright, so that's for the daily profiles. You can apply the same logic, you can read the charts the same way with different profiles, also with different settings. So let me show you some examples. So I switched to another chart and to another profile period. This chart is the crude oil, the futures. It is still 60 minutes chart, and I used the weekly profiles. So let's have a look at it. I wanted to show you how the profiles look like when there's a strong trend behavior. So let's start with this D-shaped profile. This is a weekly profile, and this is a sign of balance between buyers and sellers. However, after the balance, the price went into a selling activity and created this thin profile. You can see that there are some volume clusters, but those significant volume clusters got created within the thin profile. Alright, the next thing that happens is sort of double distribution. In this case, it doesn't really say anything because it's not followed by the D-shaped profile. If it was, then it would be a sign of rotation, but it isn't, which means that the volumes are shifting downwards from this place to this place, sign of sellers. Alright, then there is a B-shaped profile, which is pretty important because there was aggressive selling activity, and then the lower prices got accepted. So if you look at this whole area, you can see that the volumes are shifting downwards. The fair value is shifting downwards all of the time. This is how downtrend looks like. Volumes shifting downwards. So after this B-shaped profile, there's a thin profile, aggressive trend activity the whole week. Then again, thin profile, aggressive selling activity for a whole week. Then B-shaped profile, sign of aggressive sellers. You can see that there was aggressive selling activity in here, and then the price was rotating in here, accepting the lower prices. Afterwards, another thin profile, strong selling activity. Alright, another sign of strong sellers. And then there's a balanced market. And there was a rotation for 3 weeks. There was sort of P-shaped profile, sign of buyers, but those buyers didn't really hold, and this P-shaped profile was more or less a part of this whole area where there is a D-shaped profile, P-shaped profile, and D-shaped profile. Well, actually this P-shaped profile looks more like a double distribution profile when I'm looking at it like this, because it's followed by a D-shaped profile, and merging all those will create one big D-shaped profile. This is a balanced market in here. But if you look carefully, you can see that the volumes are actually shifting a little bit downwards in this whole area. So the fair value is a little bit lower than in the middle. Alright, this could be a sign of sellers. Those sellers, most likely. Alright, here are the sellers. Trend development. Now, important thing is this P-shaped profile. The reason is that when you see a P-shaped profile after a trend, it could mean a temporary balance or a change of a trend. As you can see in this case, it was a change of a trend. The P profile got followed by a thin profile, another thin profile, change of a trend. Alright, so that's for the weekly profiles. And let me now switch to another market and another example. So the next market and another example is on the ES, which is futures for Standard & Poor's Index. This is a daily chart, and the profiles that I use in here are monthly profiles, which means that every month a volume profile gets printed. So let me just show you this uptrend from 2017. So if we start, for example, in here with this D-shaped profile, this is a balance between buyers and sellers in this rotation. And afterwards, from this balance, the strong buying activity starts. It starts with a thin profile, strong buyers pushing the price upwards. So this is a trend. Then there's a D-shaped profile, which is a balanced profile. The volumes are shifting upwards and the market is accepting the higher prices, which are in here. This D-shaped profile is a sign that the higher prices got accepted. Then there is a sort of B-shaped profile, but it is not a B-shaped profile because the price closes above 50% of the whole period. So this is not a B-shaped profile. This is more or less just another volumes in this whole rotation. So if I merge those two profiles, you can see that it's basically one big D-shaped profile. Afterwards, there's a sign of strong buyers. There's a P-shaped profile. You can see that there was a rejection of lower prices and the volumes are shifting upwards. The fair value is shifting upwards. Now there is a D-shaped profile and again the volumes are going upwards. Higher prices got accepted. Those are signs of strong buyers. Those are signs of strong trend. Then there is a P-shaped profile, another sign of strong buyers. Afterwards, there is this weird profile, sort of double distribution profile, but it's not followed by a D profile, which would indicate a rotation. So this doesn't really tell us anything. Afterwards, another sign of strong buyers, P-shaped profile. Then another P-shaped profile. Afterwards, there is something that looks like a B-shaped profile, but it is not a B-shaped profile because the price is closing above